At some point, you realize no one's coming to rewrite it for you. Hey, it's Matthew. This is Paint Job episode 4, What I Chose. This episode is where things shift. Not slowly, not conceptually, but deliberately. Because once you see your patterns, once you recognize what you've been running on, you're left with a choice. Keep it or change it. So let's kick things off with the right type of energy, a previously unreleased track called Initiate.
This one's for the hollow ones who drown in noise and swallow it, till one day you wake up and you go, where the hell is everyone? So what you gonna do about it? Go do something. Initiate and be glad you did. And this one's for the brilliant kids who sit inside and watch it pass, who feel so overwhelmed and wish for a world they can't have. So what you gonna do about it? Go do something. Are you gonna do something? Do something about it. Initiate. Are you gonna do something? Do something about it. Do something about it, you fool. Initiate and be glad you did. Nothing is static, everything's felt. The system doesn't break till you break it yourself. Crack all the cages, shatter the shell, then watch something real emerge as well. Nothing is static, everything's felt. The system doesn't break until you melt. Out of the mold they try to weld, then watch something real emerge unheld. Nothing is static, everything is felt. The system doesn't break until you break it, then watch something real emerge from every buried circuit. Are you gonna do something? Do something about it. Initiate. Initiate. Are you gonna do something? Do something about it. Do something about it, you fool. Initiate and be glad you did.
For me, it wasn't one big moment. It was smaller than that, quieter. Moments where I caught myself thinking, why am I doing it this way? Who is this actually for? Do I even believe this? Or have I just repeated it so long that I think, I accept this? And I won't pretend it was easy, because rewriting something means letting go of something. Old expectations, old timelines, old versions of success that don't actually fit anymore. And there's a weird space in between where you're not who you were, but you're not fully who you're becoming yet. That space, that's where the rewrite happens. Not in the big declarations, but in the small decisions. What you say yes to. What you stop chasing. What you finally admit doesn't belong to you. There's a phrase from the panel shop. We'll match the colour. It sounds simple, practical, professional, invisible. But the older I get, the more I realise I spent much of my life doing exactly that. Matching the colour. Adjusting. Blending. Trying to look like I belonged. Trying not to stand out. Trying to become a version of myself that would be accepted by the people around me. Growing up around my father's panel shop, colour matching was a craft. A repaired panel had to look as though nothing had ever happened. No visible seam, no mismatch, no evidence of impact. The goal was integration. The work was considered successful when the damage disappeared. And I love that idea. That something broken could be repaired so well that it looked whole again. But somewhere along the way, I internalized another message. That survival meant learning to blend, to fit, to adjust my tone, my body, my expression, my desires, my ambitions, and sometimes even my voice. To make sure the finished product was acceptable, presentable, safe. As a gay man and as someone who often felt a little different, there were many colours I learned to mimic. The colour expected at school. The colour expected in family systems, in workplaces, in relationships, in queer spaces. The colour expected in business. The colour expected online. And at times, adaptation was necessary. It helped me survive. But survival strategies can become identity if you're not careful. And eventually you can become so skilled at matching the environment that you lose access to the original pigment underneath. There is a strange grief in realizing that people may have loved a version of you that was designed to be acceptable. Not false, but calibrated, adjusted, tinted, balanced, color corrected. And if you've done that for long enough, authenticity can feel risky. You start to wonder, will they still want me if I stop blending in? Will they recognize me if I show my actual shade? Will I? Match the Color came from that tension. The lyrics explore the moment when fitting in becomes a form of disappearance. The song asks whether identity is something we reveal or something we keep repainting to satisfy the world around us. And musically, the production mirrors this idea. Layers build and overlap, colours shift, textures drip. The beat keeps moving, but there is a vulnerability at the centre. Because beneath every polished finish is a person asking, what if my natural colour was enough? What if my natural colour isn't the colour I recognise? Or the colour that suits me best? The image for Match the Colour captures this directly. I'm standing in front of a giant canvas. Paint pours down the surface and over my body. The artwork asks a simple question. Am I creating the image, or am I being covered by it? The answer is both. That's what identity often feels like, a collaboration between what we choose and what lands on us. There comes a moment when adaptation stops being useful, when the constant mixing and correcting begins to feel exhausting, when the fear of being seen becomes heavier than the risk of showing up honestly. That is the turning point. The moment you stop asking, what color do they need me to be? And start asking, what color am I when no one is watching? Maybe you've matched the color too. Maybe you've learnt to hide your softness, to mute your ambition, to minimize your identity, perform competence, to make others comfortable, or to disappear in plain sight. If so, you're not alone. And there is nothing wrong with adaptation. It helped you get here. But it doesn't have to be your final finish. Ask yourself this: what's the one way you learnt to match the color? I hid parts of myself. I performed what others expected. I stayed quiet to fit in. I'm still figuring out my true color. In the panel shop, the perfect match was the one nobody noticed. In life, I'm learning that the goal is different. Not to disappear, not to blend seamlessly, but to become unmistakably myself, even if the color doesn't match what others expected, especially then. And sometimes the most important thing you can do is stop adjusting the formula and let your true color dry out in the open. I didn't delete everything. I didn't start from zero, but I started choosing differently. And that changed everything. Because the moment you take ownership, the pressure shifts. It's not about proving anything anymore. It's about building something that actually feels true.
Standing in the mirror again, trying to find a version that fits. Every color saying something, but none of it's landing like this. Hive is yellow on my skin, but it doesn't feel like me. There's a shade inside the silence that I still can't seem to see. If I change the shape, if I change the tone, will I finally look like someone I know? Trying to match the color of a life I've never worn, painting over something I don't recognize anymore. If I get it right, will it all make sense, or am I just blending in to avoid the question? I am a boy just trying to get it right, learning how to stand in the light, not rebelling, not defying, just hoping someone sees me trying. I dressed in lines and patterns in pride, mahogany suede sitting just right. I wore the fit, I played the match, every move rehearsed to match. Green and gold across my chest, say it loud, say I belong. If I look like all the rest, maybe I'll finally feel strong. Every choice I make, every line I trace is in me, or just the safest shape. Trying to match the color of a life I've never worn, painting over something I've been hiding for too long. If I get it right, will it all make sense, or am I just blending in to avoid the question? What if nothing matches? What if I go became a color I didn't choose. Wore it like I had nothing to lose, but underneath the polished frame was a quiet, unfamiliar shame. Trying to match the color, but it's slipping through my hands. Every shade I borrowed never felt like where I stand. So if I get it wrong, maybe that's the truth. There's a color in me somewhere that I haven't lived into. Trying to match the color of a life I've never worn, painting over something I've been hiding for too long. Get it right, will it all make sense? Will it all make sense? Will it all make sense? To match the color, to change the shape, so I finally recognize the man I want to know. Match the color, oh, 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 oh. Match. There's a shade inside the silence. That's the shade you wanna know.
I didn't find myself. I rewrote what wasn't mine. And once you start rewriting, you realize something else. You're not just editing your life. You're designing it. Next episode, we unleash the first single from the album, the truest color of myself that I can present. The title track, Custom Made. I didn't find myself. I rewrote what wasn't mine. This is Paint Job. My name's Matthew. And this is where it becomes yours.